The girl in the wreckage Jace was not supposed to be here. The battlefield was quiet now, but it still smelled of smoke, blood, and metal. The ground was cracked and full of black dust. Ships were broken, weapons scattered, bodies left behind, some human, some alien. Jace walked carefully through the wreckage, his boots crunching over glass and bone. He had come only to collect supplies from fallen equipment. Nothing more. But then he heard a sound that didn't belong. It was not a machine, not a weapon. It was soft. It was a whisper. "Help me." Jace stopped. He raised his weapon, eyes searching. The sound came again, weaker this time. "Take me or leave me to die." He followed the voice. Behind a shattered metal panel, he found her. A girl, an alien girl. She was lying in the dirt, half covered in ash, her skin pale with blue undertones, her hair tangled with wire and blood. Her eyes were big, glowing slightly in the dark. She looked young, maybe 16 or 17 in human years. She was injured, ribs showing, lips cracked, but she was alive. And she was looking right at him. "Please, take me." Jace hesitated. This species, Thalari, had been in war with humans for 5 long years. Their leaders were known for mind tricks, betrayal, fake surrender. No one would trust a Thalari girl, not even a dying one. His orders were simple: collect parts, avoid contact, and return. But she didn't move, didn't try to attack. She just kept whispering with a voice like wind, "Take me or leave me to die." He looked around. No cameras, no drones. Number. Command center watching. He took a breath and stepped closer. "Can you walk?" he asked. She shook her head. Her arm was twisted, maybe broken. Her legs were thin like sticks. Jace knelt beside her. He didn't know what he was doing. He only knew one thing: if he left her here, she would die alone. And something deep inside him refused to let that happen. He picked her up. Her body was light, too light. She had not eaten in days. She rested her head on his shoulder like she had already given up. But as he carried her toward his shuttle, he saw something in her eyes, a spark. She hadn't given up yet. She had waited, hoping someone would find her. Someone human. Back at his ship, Jace placed her gently on a seat and scanned her body. Internal bleeding, broken bones, fever. She was in worse shape than he thought. His medical kit was basic, but he used what he could. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just watched him. "Why were you here?" Jace asked. She didn't answer at first. Then, softly, she said, "They left me." "Your people?" She nodded slowly. "They said I was too weak." "No use." "So they left me to die." Jace didn't know what to say. He had seen cruelty in war, but this was something else. He looked at her again. This girl had nothing, no family, no army, no reason to keep living except that she had asked him. She had chosen a human. That was strange. Very strange. He gave her water. Her hand shook as she drank. She whispered a small thank you. Jace didn't even know her name. He asked her. She blinked slowly. Rila. That name would change his life. The ship shook slightly. A warning light blinked. Something had detected them. Jace checked. The screen drones were scanning the area. His own side had noticed his delay. If they scanned the ship and found a Thalari girl inside, he would be marked a traitor. Helping an enemy was a death sentence. He had a choice. Turn her in or run. Rila looked up at him. Her eyes were tired but calm. "You can leave me here," she said. "I won't stop you." She was giving him permission to abandon her. Again, Jace clenched his jaw. "No, you're not dying on my ship," he said. "Not today." He started the engines. They lifted off fast, leaving the battlefield behind. The scanners followed, but Jace turned off all signals and dropped into a blind zone. He had one chance to hide before the system locked onto them. Rila coughed softly beside him. She was alive, but barely. Jace didn't know why he saved her. Was it guilt? Was it pity? Or maybe he saw something in her that the others didn't. Something more than just an alien. A girl who wanted to live. A soul crying out through the ashes. Of war. He didn't know. But he knew this much: he had crossed a line. And there was no turning back. Not now. Not with Rila on board. And somewhere, far across space, someone else had just noticed she was missing. And they were coming. Asterisk. Hunted for saving her. Just had broken a rule that could not be undone. Saving the girl wasn't just dangerous, it was a crime. His ship was now flagged. His name, once respected in the patrol ranks, was added to the list of suspects. He didn't even wait for an order. He knew what they would say. Arrest, interrogate, eliminate if necessary. All for carrying one alien girl. Rila slept in the back of the ship, wrapped in an old blanket. Her breathing was shallow but steady. She didn't know the storm that was coming for both of them. Jace pushed the ship faster, flying low through dead zones, places where satellites had stopped working or been destroyed in past battles. It was the only way to avoid tracking. He couldn't go to a city, couldn't call for help, couldn't talk to anyone he once trusted. Everyone now would ask the same question. Why did you help the enemy? But Jace didn't see her as the enemy anymore. He didn't understand it, but something about her had changed his thinking. Maybe it was the way she didn't lie. Maybe it was the way she never begged after the first time. She just accepted what came next. There was no fear in her silence. Only pain and the strength to carry it. But someone else wanted her. Someone powerful. As Jace tried to land on a quiet moon to rest and repair, his radar flashed red. A fast black ship was behind him. Not human. Not Thalari either. Something else. He tried to contact it. No answer. Then the attack came. A direct shot hit the back engine, and the whole ship shook. Rila woke up, gripping the side walls, confused and scared. Jace yelled for her to stay down. He turned the ship hard and flew into a canyon tight. Risky flying, but it was the only chance. The black ship followed. Jace cursed under his breath. Whoever they were, they didn't want to talk. They wanted Rila. Alive or dead, he wasn't sure. But they were willing to destroy his whole ship just to get to her. Rila crawled toward the cockpit, her body still weak. They're not Thalari, she said quietly. You know who they are? She nodded, trembling. Shadow collectors. They take people like me. Like you? I'll explain later, she said. Just don't let them take me, please. Jace felt a chill. Shadow collectors were real. He had heard stories, rumors of a secret group that captured beings with rare abilities. Sometimes for science. Sometimes for something worse. The black ship fired again, but Jace managed to dodge. They flew through a narrow tunnel, scraping metal on the walls. Sparks flew inside the ship. Alarms screamed. Then, suddenly, the enemy ship backed off. It stopped chasing. Jace didn't trust it. He flew another hour, then hid inside a thick asteroid field, powering everything down. Total silence. Darkness. Only the sound of their breathing filled the small space. Rila leaned back against the wall. You didn't have to save me again. Yeah, well, Jace said, forcing a tired smile. You're getting used to being trouble. But he couldn't stop thinking about what she said. They take people like me. What did that mean? He asked her again. She looked down, ashamed. I was part of a project. My people. They experimented on us. They wanted to build something new, smarter, stronger. I was one of the failures. They dumped me. And the shadow collectors? They collect failures like me, she whispered. We're worth more to them than weapons. Jace sat quietly for a moment. He thought of all the years he spent fighting the Thaleri, thinking they were monsters. And now he was beginning to wonder if some humans had done worse. He looked at Rilla. She was scared but brave. Hurt but still fighting to live. She had secrets. He knew that now. But so did the universe. Suddenly, the ship's control pad lit up and an encrypted message appeared. It was from his old commander. The words were cold. Surrender. You are carrying a Class X target. Return her or face consequences. They knew. The humans knew, and they were watching. Jace looked at Rilla. He could still turn back, still hand her over. Maybe they'd forgive him. Maybe he'd live, but he already knew his answer. He deleted the message. We're not going back, he said. If they want you, they'll have to go through me. For the first time, Rilla smiled. Just a small one. But it was real that the hunt had begun. And now, Jace was no longer running just to protect her. He was running because something deep inside him had changed. He had seen too much Dot, and now he was ready to find the truth. Asterisk, she starts to heal. And remember, the silence inside the ship had changed. It was no longer the cold silence of strangers. It was the quiet of two people holding on to survival. Jace fixed what he could, patch the hull, adjusted the engines, and sealed the broken vents. The ship was far from perfect, but it would keep flying. That was enough for now. Rilla had stopped shaking. Her body was still weak, but her spirit had shifted. The dark rings under her eyes faded little by little. Her voice grew clearer each day. She started asking questions, small ones at first. Where were they going? Why did Jace help her? Why did humans hate her kind so much? Jace didn't always have the answers, but he gave her honesty. And that, more than anything, seemed to earn her trust. She no longer flinched when he got close. She sat up to eat instead of turning away. She even laughed once, just a short sound, surprised at her own reaction. It caught Jace off guard. He hadn't heard laughter in weeks, maybe longer, but healing the body was only the first step. One night, Jace found her standing near the cockpit window, staring into the stars. Her eyes weren't just watching, they were remembering. I was supposed to be a message, she said quietly. Jace looked at her, confused. A message? My people, they designed children like me, not for war. Not for peace either. We were made to show what could be done. Mixed genetics, altered minds. I was supposed to be a symbol. But when I didn't perform well, they threw me away. She sat down, pulling her knees close. They tested me every day. If I failed once, no food. If I failed twice, pain. They said I was broken. And when the lab was attacked, they didn't bother to take me. Jace felt anger rise in his chest, not just at her people, but at the system itself. She had been just a girl, a child, turned into a lab rat for someone else's pride. I remember a man in a silver coat, she whispered. He always watched me, never smiled. He said my brain was too soft, that I was too emotional to lead others like me. Jace leaned forward. Others like you? She nodded. There were more. Maybe still are. I don't know where they went. Jace now understood something deeper. She wasn't just a survivor. She was a piece of something buried. A secret that both her kind and the shadow collectors didn't want to come out. Her memories were not just painful. They were dangerous. Later, while running diagnostics, Jace noticed strange readings from the ship's med scans. There were neural pattern signals firing in parts of Rilla's brain most species didn't use. Some of the data looked like language, but not spoken, not even written. It was like a map alive, moving through her thoughts. He showed it to her. Rilla stared at the screen for a long time. Then her hands moved on their own. She drew shapes, slowly at first. Then faster, circles, lines, paths. Jace watched in silence. As she drew something onto the glass panel, a pattern that didn't look random. "What is it?" he asked. "I don't know," she said. "But it feels important. I've seen it in my dreams. Since before the lab." It looked like a star. Chart, a route through space. But it led nowhere marked on any human map. Jace backed away, breath caught in his throat. "Rilla, what if this is why they were chasing you?" She lowered her hand. "I think it is." He saved the drawings, scanned them, and hid the files under heavy encryption. Whoever wanted Rilla hadn't just abandoned her, they'd been waiting for someone to find her. Someone who could unlock what she didn't even know she carried. Rilla stood up, her voice stronger now. "They made me feel like I was worthless, like I was trash. But if this thing inside me matters, maybe I matter too." Jace nodded slowly. "You matter, with or without the map." Outside the ship, space was quiet. But that wouldn't last. The message she carried would call others good or bad. The deeper they went, the louder her past would echo. She was healing. She was remembering. And she was becoming more dangerous than anyone ever expected. Asterisk. The map inside her Minjace never planned to become a fugitive, let alone the protector of a girl who wasn't even from his world. Yet here they were hiding, inside an old mining outpost carved into a dead asteroid. It hadn't been used in years, and the only thing still working was the door, and a dusty old light that flickered like it was afraid of the dark. Rilla had grown stronger. She now walked without stumbling, spoke with calm clarity, and sometimes stared at nothing like her mind was working through pieces of a puzzle only she could see. Jace had watched her change. The quiet girl who had once begged him to take her or leave her to die was now someone different, someone becoming harder to ignore. At night, she slept in a corner of the outpost, covered in a blanket. But her hands never rested. In her sleep, her fingers moved, tracing lines on the wall, shapes on the floor, strange symbols in the air. At first, Jace thought it was nothing, a habit, a dream. But then he noticed the same patterns appearing. Again and again, he recorded them, compared them to old alien star charts. They matched nothing known. Then one night, Rilla gasped and sat up, eyes wide. Her hands trembled, and she looked at Jace like she didn't know who he was. Then she said something that chilled him. "It's a key." "The pattern, it's a key." Jace leaned closer. "To what?" Her voice was quiet, to a place that shouldn't exist. Over the next 2 days, Rilla started drawing with purpose. She used scraps of metal, bits of stone, even wires to scratch the designs onto the walls of the outpost. Circles connected by sharp angles. Dotted paths that looked like coordinates. And at the center, a symbol Jace had never seen before, a spiral with an eye in the middle. Jace transmitted the images through a private channel to an old contact, a scientist who owed him a favor. The reply came fast. The spiral wasn't random. It had appeared once before on a deep space artifact discovered and quickly hidden by the Galactic Archive. It was considered forbidden. Dangerous. The artifact had led nowhere. Until now. Jace stared at Rilla. "How do you know this?" She looked tired but steady. "I don't. It's not a memory. It's just there, in me. I think I was made to carry it." "You're saying this map was built into you?" "I think so. And I think someone else knows I have it." That was the part Jace feared most. If Rilla's mind held a living map to something powerful, something ancient, then it wasn't just the shadow collectors chasing them anymore. Others would come. Governments, pirates, mercenaries, people who killed first and asked questions never. As Rilla worked, strange things began happening inside the outpost. Old systems turned on without power. Lights flickered in patterns that matched her drawings. And once, The mining station's central console lit up and displayed a line of alien text even Jace's translator couldn't read. Rila touched the console, and it changed. The words became symbols. The symbols became a shape. A star system. Jace grabbed a map. It was unmarked space. A dead zone near the galactic edge. Few ships had ever returned from that region. Those that did spoke of gravity storms, shifting signals, and strange time delays. Most thought it was just technical interference. But now, Jace wasn't so sure. "Is this where it leads?" he asked. Rila nodded. "It's calling. I can feel it." Jace stared at the star system again. He didn't want to go there. Every instinct told him not to. But they had run out of places to hide. Maybe the only way forward was through the mystery itself. "You understand what this means?" he asked. "If this map is real, people will come. They'll do anything to get to it, to get to you." "I know," Rila said. "But if we don't go, they'll never stop chasing us." "Not until I'm dead," Jace sighed. He didn't want her to carry the weight of a secret universe. She was still just a girl. But the galaxy had decided otherwise. He looked one last time at the star system glowing on the screen. Then he powered up the ship. They were going to the place that shouldn't exist, because the map inside. Rila's mind was more than a secret. It was a path to something forgotten, and someone had built her to find it. Betrayal from within. Trust had become rare in Jace's world. He didn't hand it out easily. But when his old squad mate Terran responded to his hidden signal with a private channel and a single message, "I can help," Jace wanted to believe it. They had fought together, bled together, and once saved each other's lives. If anyone could offer a safe place to land, it was Terran. The meeting spot was an old refueling station floating near the edge of a silent trade route. Jace landed first, keeping the ship's systems on standby. Rila stayed quiet, her eyes watching every shadow. She didn't say anything, but Jace could tell she didn't trust easily either. Ron arrived in a sleek silver ship, smiling as if nothing in the universe could go wrong. His arms were open. "You look like hell, Jace," he joked. "And this must be the girl." Jace didn't smile. "She has a name, Rila." Tara nodded, pretending to be respectful. He offered fuel, repairs, and food. Jace reluctantly accepted. For a few hours the station felt safe. Rila even allowed herself to rest, but deep inside something felt off. Too easy. Too friendly. That night, while Rila slept, Jace and Terran shared a drink. Old war stories came up, but Jace noticed Terran avoiding certain questions. He never asked about the map. Never once seemed surprised that Jace was being hunted. Instead, he kept pushing one thing. "You've done your part, Jace," Terran said casually. "You found her, saved her. Now let someone else take over." "Take over?" Jace narrowed his eyes. "Come on," Terran replied. "You and I both know she's not normal. That girl has something inside her worth more than either of us. There are people who'll pay a fortune to unlock it and treat her better than we ever could." Jace's grip tightened on the cup. "You talked to someone, didn't you?" Terran didn't answer. He didn't have to. Jace stood immediately, every instinct on fire. He ran to the ship, heart pounding. The station was too quiet. His access code didn't work on the door. That's when he knew he had made a mistake. Inside, Rila was gone. Security footage showed everything. 2 men in black armor had entered quietly, using clearance codes. They didn't hurt her. They sedated her. And Terran had opened the hatch. Jace's blood turned to ice. He grabbed a blaster and stormed through the station. Terran was already waiting. "She's not yours to keep," Terran said. "This is bigger than you, Jace. She's the key to something ancient." "You know it. I know it. Don't be stupid." But Jace didn't speak. He fired first. Taro and ducked, shot back. It wasn't clean. It wasn't fair. But Jace didn't stop. He shot through glass, through metal, through pain. And when Terran finally fell, bleeding and silent, Jace didn't feel victory. He felt betrayal. He found the ship that took Rilla and hacked into its flight path. It was headed toward a secured facility in deep space. Unknown ownership. No records. No return path. That told Jace one thing: they weren't bringing her back. Left the station behind in flames and followed the trail, pushing his ship faster than it had gone in years. He didn't sleep, didn't eat. His focus was razor-sharp. He had made a promise, and he had failed. But he wasn't finished yet. Somewhere in that dark corner of the galaxy, Rilla was alone again, taken, handed over by someone she never met, betrayed. Again, this time by someone Jace thought he could trust. He didn't know what they wanted to unlock in her. A weapon? A gate? A message from the past? All he knew was this: they thought she was just a carrier, but they were wrong. She was alive. And that made her more powerful than any secret inside her. And now, Jace was coming back for her. No matter the cost. Asterisk the rescue and the truth. They thought he wouldn't find the facility. They hid it behind encrypted routes, cloaked it with false coordinates, and buried it deep inside a dying nebula where sensors couldn't reach. But none of that stopped Jace. Rage made him sharper. Regret made him faster. And Rilla, she made him dangerous. The place wasn't a prison. It was worse. A research complex built into the bones of an ancient moon. Black spires rose like thorns. Guards walked in silence, not like soldiers but like machines. Jace studied everything before making his move. He didn't storm in. He melted into the dark. Inside, Rilla was no longer the weak girl from the wreckage. The facility had awakened something in her. They had hooked her to strange machines, scanned her memories, and tried to pull the map from her brain. But something had changed. The more they pushed, the more her mind fought back. She wasn't afraid anymore. One of the researchers called her Prototype Zero. Another called her the Archive. But none of them called her Rilla. She waited. She didn't cry, because she knew he would come, and he did. Jace entered through a cargo duct, moving like a shadow. He didn't speak. He didn't hesitate. He took down every guard between him and her quietly, quickly. When he reached her chamber, she was already awake, her eyes locked on the door like she had felt him coming. About time, she whispered. Jase smiled, breathless. You holding up? Better now. He broke her restraints and helped her to her feet. But before they could leave, the alarms blared. Lights turned red. The whole moon woke up like a beast sensing blood. They ran, dodging blasts, moving through broken halls filled with secrets. They passed rooms where others like Rilla had once lived or died. She stopped once to look through a window and saw something that made her shake. They tried to make more of me, she said. But they all failed. Jace pulled her away. You're not a failure. You're the one who got out. They reached the shuttle bay, but the exit wasn't clear. A wall of armed drones blocked the launch path. Behind them stood a woman in dark armor, eyes glowing with blue tech implants. She didn't raise a weapon. She raised her voice. You've seen the map, she said to Rilla. You carry something built before your species even existed. That power doesn't belong to you. Rilla stepped forward. It doesn't belong to you either. You're a message, the woman said coldly. Not a person. Rilla's voice cracked with fury. Then why do I remember pain? Why do I feel fear? Why did I beg to live? The woman didn't answer. She simply nodded, and the drones raised their weapons. But before they could fire, Rilla closed her eyes. The strange symbol she had drawn for weeks appeared behind her eyes, burning like fire. A pulse of light exploded outward from her body. The drones fell. Screens shattered. Lights blinked and died. Even Jay staggered. When the light faded, the woman was gone. Rila collapsed to her knees. It's not just a map, she said, trembling. It's a signal. Jay knelt beside her. To what? She looked up, terrified and awed. To something watching us. They escaped seconds before the facility began to collapse. Whatever Rilla had awakened wasn't meant to be touched. The structure shook itself apart, as if the secret inside her had been too much for even the walls to contain. Back on Jace's ship. Safe but shaken, Rilla stared out the window. I think I was made to open something, she said. Jay sat beside her. Then we decide what happens next, not them. She looked at him. You still trust me? He nodded. I didn't save you because of what you carry. I saved you because of who you are. For the first time, she believed it. But somewhere, far beyond the edge of the known galaxy, a dormant signal had just been received. An ancient mind had stirred from sleep. Rilla wasn't just part of a project anymore. She was part of something much older, and it had just woken up. Asterisk. Chosen by the future, the stars had never looked the same after that day. Rilla sat in silence, staring out of the ship's viewport as distant galaxies shimmered like scattered glass. But she wasn't just watching, she was listening. Something had answered her. Something ancient, buried deep in time, had opened its eyes because of her. She felt it every time she closed hers. Jace could see it too. She no longer moved like someone running. She moved like someone being called. They had choices to make. Rila's signal hadn't just awakened an old enemy or activated some forgotten tech, it had started a war of interest. All at once, ships began appearing. Human fleets, alien syndicates, rogue factions with old grudges and new weapons. Everyone wanted to find what Rila had connected to. Everyone believed she held the key to unimaginable power. They were right, but they misunderstood something crucial. She wasn't just a key, she was the gate. They landed on a forgotten moon marked by the symbol Rila had always drawn. The spiral. With the eye. It wasn't a base, it wasn't a lab. It was a vault, a living construct hidden under layers of stone and time. As they approached, the walls opened not by code or tool, but by her presence. The structure knew her. It had been. Waiting. Inside, the truth revealed itself. The Filari had not created her map. The humans hadn't discovered it. This place, and others like it, were built long before either species had climbed from their homeworlds. And they weren't weapons. They were warnings, stored memories. Whole histories encoded in light and stone. Warnings about a cycle of destruction that returned every few thousand years when intelligent life reached too far, dug too deep, and became blind with pride. Rila wasn't made to unleash destruction. She was made to stop it. The spiral symbol wasn't just a mark. It was a countdown, and it had almost reached 0. When Rila touched the central node of the vault, something incredible happened. Her memories, thoughts, pain, everything she had suffered poured into the core. And then it played back across the stars. A transmission unlike any other spread across systems. Her voice, her vision, her past, sent into every frequency and language. Empires paused, soldiers froze. Leaders listened. She showed them what had been done to her, what she had become, and what she now chose to be. A girl, once left to die, now stood as a voice for every forgotten child, every broken experiment, every quiet soul who was told they were a tool and not a life. And the galaxy, for one brief moment, went silent. No one fired. No one moved, because something in that message broke through hatred. It was honesty. Raw, painful. Truth. And that more than any weapon was what people weren't ready for. Jay stood beside her. unsure what the future now held. But Rila, for the first time, looked peaceful. Not because the danger was over, but because the running had ended. She turned to him and smiled. They didn't make me to be a hero. Jace nodded. Good, because now you get to choose for yourself. And she did. They didn't stay on the moon. They didn't claim glory. They left quietly, heading toward unknown space. Some said they vanished. Others said they were building something better, far from the old systems. But those who remembered the signal remembered her face, her voice. She had once begged for someone to take her. Now the stars themselves followed where she walked. And Jace? He was never the hero of the story. He was just the one who stopped long enough to listen, and in doing so, helped the galaxy hear her too.